Hello, and welcome to the Old Man Orange Podcast. I'm Spencer Scott Holmes.
And I'm Dave Candito.
We're going back to 1997 to the good old French sci-fi film, The Fifth Element, from Luc Besson. You know, the dude who brought you right beforehand. You know, you had La Femme Nikita and you had Leon the Professional. And of course, nowadays he's done like so much stuff. I almost feel like he's actually known more as a writer than even a director. He's directed a lot of big things, but like he also wrote like Transporter and Taken and From Paris with Love. And like pretty much if there's a movie that literally has some form of like French production, he's probably in there as either a producer, writer, or director. Because I noticed that like those guys just all sort of rotate. Like you'll see them in like different jobs. Like one guy will direct one movie and then the next thing you know, he's the cameraman on the next one and so on like that, which I always think is pretty darn cool. But yeah. He makes all kinds of great films and so on. And I really feel like The Fifth Element, even though it's still a French movie, was kind of like his big like intro to America. Because La Femme Nikita and Leon the Professional were
I was
still...
going to say, I didn't know that he did those two before it. And I don't think there's... Like, I guess when you think about movies that are really popular, you think about how many memes people are making out of them. And of course, there's a lot with... Fifth Element, and I don't think I've ever seen a meme about Leon the Professional. So I think you're absolutely right. It was his definite step into the limelight with this film. And,
well, and plus Leon and La Femme Nikita are also in French, so you're watching. You're watching them as foreign movies. Because this is the one thing I learned. Like I think it might even come from about Fifth Element, but France kind of got that. Like they got sort of savvy on this idea that like, hey, we can make a French movie. But if we just get a couple of either American or British actors to be in the main roles and we make the movie in English, we can sell it really big. Because that's sort of what they did. Because Transporter is a French movie. Taken's a French movie. There's a lot of those movies out there. You don't think of them at first, but then if you stop and go, okay, pull the main characters out, look at the credits, everybody has a French name, and a lot of times these movies even take place like in France. You know, I almost want to even say that Kiss of the Dragon, the Jet Li one, that's a French movie. You know, it just happens to have Jet Li in it. You know, I think it's a combo, you know, French-Chinese one, but it's interesting. They kind of hide them, but like if you look for it, it's like they're there. And it's kind of like Fifth Element. Like if you once somebody kind of tells you, be like, hey, by the way, this is a French movie, it makes 100% sense. The way you look at the fashion, the look, the whole feel of everything.
For sure.
You're like, you know what? I knew there was something different about this movie. You know, it's kind of like when somebody first tells you that Speed Racer is an anime when you're like a kid, and you're like, you know,
what?
Yeah, it's like I knew there was something off about that. It just didn't look like Johnny Quest or any of those other ones.
Yeah, exactly. Speed Racer, the sociopath. I love those videos where people are taking all the Speed Racer scenes out of context and just making them look like a total psychopath. It's hilarious.
There's a lot of death in Speed Racer. Like people fly off the edge, cars blow up. You're like, that guy's not coming back. He's gone. That's a 1960s car. There's no safety measures in that.
Yeah, seatbelts. What are you talking about?
Yeah,
man.
But
no, the fashion, man. That I didn't even think about that, but you're spot on with that. Such a wacky ass wardrobe in that whole movie.
Well, it's funny because I was trying to look up like on YouTube. I was like, can I find like the audio commentary of this? Which sometimes you can, sometimes you can't. I know I have it on the DVD, but when I was walking around at work and I was like, I'll just throw the audio commentary on. I couldn't find it, but I did notice that like this movie had a lot of people that had that like my first time watching The Fifth Element, and they had like a stupid face on the like thumbnail and everything like that. And it was common. I mean, I probably saw like 20 of those just pop up when I was trying to look for that audio commentary. I found some cool old school special features, like one from the Sci-Fi Channel and so on, that was kind of nostalgic. But obviously I feel to a lot of people that missed out on this in the 90s or, you know, are catching it way later, I think this movie kind of like is very bizarre to them. To me, probably because it was 1997 and I was just, you know, a kid watching it just like any other movie. I didn't actually think about how bizarre this movie was until you kind of stop and think about it. Like, it kind of comes across kind of like normal, and then I go, oh, yeah, I guess there is some weird stuff going on here that might scare some people, like, you know, outside of that 90s era.
Yeah, I guess so. I think the weirdest thing is Bruce Willis and the romance between Bruce Willis and Milla Jovovich. I mean, he's like 46 or something, and she's 19. Kind kind of odd. I mean,
It's French.
Yes, and once again, after we start talking about it, it's a French film. Oh, okay, there you go. Like the borderline molestation in the beginning of the film, where he goes to kiss her and she's asleep. It's like, what the hell are you doing, man? Like,
I guess that's how Bruce thought he would wake her up. You know what I mean?
yeah, that's what I do. That's how I woke all my buddies up in the military. And of course they thought I was a sicko, but
but really, I was just a big fan of The Fifth Element.
Yeah, exactly. I was trying to live that out.
Exactly.
But, now the one thing that's interesting is, well, it was interesting to me because I don't know how many people have thought about this, but I don't know if you've played Mass Effect.
Did what now? Have
you played Mass Effect? Any of them?
Yes, I played all of them.
So I actually didn't play the third one. I played it for about 15 minutes. I don't even think I played it that long. And the reason why is because I didn't have a system at the time. The only computer in the house was my mother's piece of crap laptop that couldn't play anything. So I bought a PC version of the game, tried to play it on my mom's computer. It didn't work very well. So I just stopped and I never played it again. And now I really want to play it, especially since it's all free on Game Pass.
And they have the Legendary Edition, which is nice. It has all the DLC. It has all that stuff. Because when that came out, I went back because I never played the DLC back in the day because I never had the internet for the 360. So I just had the core games and so on.
Yeah.
And those are those games where it's like the DLC. There's actually more DLC on 2 and 3 than there is normal game.
Wow. That's
the DLC is literally longer because I used to go these games are all 12 hours long or something like that. It's like with DLC, it's like, oh no, now they're 25 hours for those.
I love Mass Effect. That's got to be my favorite. It rivals Halo when it comes to story and lore for me. Mm-hmm. I love how much more. Part of me feels like there's a Mass Effect. The whole Mass Effect universe is so complex compared to Halo. I think anyway. I guess that until maybe if you get into the novels with Halo, maybe it gets to be about the same. I don't know. But I loved the index, in the first game, you get when you're reading about all the races and the wars and everything and blah, blah, blah. And it only gets deeper as you progress in the second game and so on and so forth. And I guess the third, I just don't know. But
yeah, the third's good.
I used to compare them all the time. I want to how would a war between the elites and the Turians go, and blah, blah, blah. But anyway, I thought that as I'm watching The Fifth Element, I'm thinking, I wonder if the people that made Mass Effect, I wonder if there was somebody working for BioWare that was had just watched The Fifth Element and were getting inspired by it, because I picked up on a lot of similarities. And the whole thing about every 5,000 years this event occurs, which is kind of like the Reapers in Mass Effect. Yep. There's got to be somebody there to save them. You have the French Commander Shepard here, Corbin Dallas.
Yeah.
But
who was ex-military pilot, now a cab driver.
Yeah.
Gonna save the world.
I love that he's a pilot, but he's also got all these commando skills. You don't see that.
Yeah. You think about it. Yeah, it's you know what I mean. Mostly a pilot, if they're lucky, they're here's a pistol. What's this for? Well, it's to shoot yourself if you get captured.
Oh man, I love to it seems like this movie pulled no punches when it comes to I don't know what's socially accepted, especially nowadays. But it was kind of graceful in a way. It wasn't super raw, but it was very open. I don't know. I might be talking out of my butt trying to describe that, but when he gets the takeout, the Chinese takeout. Mm-hmm. Oh man, that's hilarious. The guy on the it's kind of cool actually how they deliver food to your door.
Yeah, I think that's actually kind of a badass concept that I almost feel would be kind of neat. It's instead of like saying like, nowadays you would have, like Grubhub or something like that, DoorDash, it would bring you the food. It's like, just imagine if almost like the taco truck just like rolled up to your fucking window and then started serving you, like, and you're just there having a conversation like you're sitting at the counter, and then next thing you know, when he's done, he takes off and goes to the next person. It really can't be very profitable in a sense because you're spending way too much time for like individual customer, but the concept I think is cool.
Oh man, like it makes me think of being a cable guy, like all the houses we go to service the customers and whatnot. And I just imagine like going to somebody's window where you don't have to come inside, and so therefore a lot of weirdos would probably be even more weird since you don't have to come inside. I don't know, like not wearing
pants on.
No, yeah, exactly. That's exactly what I was thinking of. Not wearing pants or something. And then of course they're like, "Oh shoot, I forgot my wallet." They turn around and walk away, and you just get all this bare ass. But no, that was oh man, that was so funny that scene where he's telling him about like he's giving him his like his ancient wisdom there. Well, I say ancient. Maybe that's because I'm being racist or something. But what I mean is the that Oriental wisdom from the Chinese chef.
Yeah, just like in kind of classic fashion and so on like that, but yeah, no, there's a lot of those like neat things in that mixed match of this sci-fi world, and I feel like when I look at it, kind of like I look at it like in two ways, because it's almost like what kind of inspires this movie, and then the fact of how much this movie inspires things to come. Because when I initially watched this one, and I know that like one of the big ones is of course Valerian and Lorelei, which for the most part Americans have no idea what that thing is until much later in the future, because it's a French comic. But did you ever see? They made a movie of it. Luc Besson directed it, actually, because that was like the thing he always wanted to do. And that's even like Fifth Element's literally, he liked Valerian so much that he's like, oh, I'll just make my own kind of version. Kind of almost like George Lucas. He wanted to make Flash Gordon or Buck Rogers or whatever. And since he wasn't able to do that, he's like, fuck it, I'll make my own thing.
Then, of course, he made his own version of Dune.
Yeah,
you might know it. It's called Star Wars.
Desert Planet and so on. But if you've never seen Valerian, I actually like that one quite a bit. It came out maybe 2018 or something like that, give or take.
I haven't seen it. I'll check it out.
Yeah, it's a good one. It's in a similar vibe as this. Once again, Luc Besson and everything. It kind of was one of those movies that kind of came and went. It reminded me of the same way that like there was John Carter, kind of came and went. Yeah. Where I felt like these stories they're really good stories, but I just don't think they could capture the average person good enough.
Yeah.
And I love that John Carter one as well.
I thought John Carter was awesome. It was another film that I thought I don't understand why people didn't like it. I don't understand why it didn't perform well. And I think it's probably just because people didn't know who John Carter was. And I think the marketing probably wasn't very good for it.
Well, one of the biggest ones I can say is they messed up the name. It should have just been called The Princess of Mars. That's such a better title than John Carter. John 100%. John Carter sounds like it's like some investigative like lawyer movie.
Well, I'll be honest. I didn't watch that movie until maybe 15 years after it came out. And that's exactly the reason why, because all I see is John Carter. Like you said, like if I'm a kid and my parents said, when did John Carter come out? Like 2006, 2007?
No, it's a little bit late. It's like 2012 or something like that.
Oh, well, okay. 2012. Let's see. What was coming out around that time? Not Star Wars.
Well, see, it sounds like a John Grisham book.
Let's see. It does.
That's what I mean. Like, if you just saw that title with no like connotation of what it was or anything like that, you'd be like, I'm guessing that's some kind of like like the Lincoln Lawyer or something like that, or The Firm.
Let's see.
Jack Reacher, even.
The film was 2012. Yep, 2012.
Dude, that was a good guess. I'm pretty good at the year parts. But I think that John Carter, like, I got really into it. Like, I read like the first two novels or whatever of it. I read a bunch of the graphic novels that are really good as well too.
All right. So we got, so John Carter, 2012. I'm looking at what other movies were coming out that year. So we got, let's see. I'm purely going off of titles here. The Place Beyond the Pines, Dracula Reborn, The Last Day. Well, no, that sounds kind of stupid. Act of Valor, Chernobyl Diaries, End of Watch. I mean, like, there's a big list here. Big list.
End of Watch is a good movie.
Yeah, it's a great movie. Cloud Atlas, I actually really like that movie.
I like that one too.
I think it's fantastic.
People don't like that one as much.
You're watching like 4 movies in one. I mean, it's so good. Anyway, Skyfall, Wrath of the Titans. Like, you see all of that, right? And then you have John Carter, sorry.
Yeah.
And that's like, well, I don't know. This doesn't sound exciting. Doesn't sound as exciting as Wrath of the Titans,
Yeah. But doesn't Princess of Mars, like its original book title? Yeah, it's like that's what the book's called. I think it's called John Carter and the Princess of Mars, which that would be fine enough too. It's a little bit long, but it sounds epic.
And of course, not to be confused with Ghosts of Mars.
Hey, I like that movie. That's a John Carpenter movie.
I know. It's I certainly like a lot of his other movies a little bit better than Ghosts of Mars, but
yeah, it's not his best one, but it's still it's I still like it's a childhood classic for sure.
But anyway,
but yeah, as I said, Valerian's kind of in about that similar one. Maybe we'll have to check that one out again.
Yeah, that sounds pretty good.
It's pretty neat, and there's a bunch of comics on that, Valerian and Lorelei. There's actually an animated show, too, of Valerian and Lorelei, which I remember watching some of that back in the day, too. It's like I want to say it's a French anime, of course, or a French, cartoon, but I want to say it's like partially anime as well, too. Like, it's half Japanese, half French. But as I said, I was saying for like Fifth Element, like a lot of the inspirational stuff, because some of the other things that I see in Fifth Element, of course, I see some Blade Runner in there for sure. I definitely see some Heavy Metal, the animated one as well, especially with the taxi cab and all that kind of stuff.
That's what I was thinking too. Very, very similar.
Yeah, very similar to that. And then Ghost in the Shell as well too, because that would have just came out only a couple years beforehand.
The one with not Charlize Theron.
You're not the live action one, but the live action one's based on the anime.
Oh yeah.
The way Scarlett Johansson, which that one's actually a pretty good adaptation. I'm not even the biggest Scarlett Johansson fan, but I do actually like that Ghost in the Shell live action movie quite a bit. I think it captures the anime pretty darn well. But no, the anime, since it came out right there in 1995, because. And then you can kind of see that Fifth Element inspires a lot of stuff going forward, as in I would say a lot of video games for sure, like Mass Effect, but even like partially some things I feel like Matrix and everything like that kind of like take a little bit from there. Some of the things that you start seeing in the early 2000s movies.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, so I was actually, when I said Charlize Theron, I was actually thinking of Aeon Flux.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's actually around a similar time period too, because the cartoons... Yeah, the movie's that, but the cartoon I think is like 94.
Yeah.
The MTV ones, it has really like experimental looking animation in that.
Yeah.
But
now as we were watching it didn't take long for me because once again, it's kind of cool. We were watching all these movies that I've only seen bits and pieces of. And as we're watching it, I don't think we were any more than like 20 minutes in, and probably like 10 or 15, and I'm thinking like this is already one of my favorite films I've ever watched. The storytelling is so good, and the way that the characters are all introduced and everything. I don't know. I kind of feel like the director does some similar things to Guillermo del Toro with the art and just. I don't know, the style of directing. It's very similar to me. I don't know if maybe they were pals or something, but it was kind of reminiscent, which I guess it's not reminiscent of his Hellboy films or nothing like that. It would have been the other way around because those came out after Fifth Element. But just the art, the practical effects, the makeup. I guess some of his aliens are a little more crude looking than some of Guillermo del Toro's stuff. They look very nice, but it's just one more thing that I love though. Like those aliens, I don't remember what the name of them are. They were the belligerents. They're causing all the problems.
The one in the very beginning, or because there's like the Mondo Shaw ones, which are I think the big ones from the very beginning.
Not those ones.
Okay.
The guys that they shoot down the Mondo Shaw's ship. And then they're kind of the villains. Yeah. They're not the main villains, of course, but
what are those guys called?
They're not nice.
Yeah, I can't remember exactly, but I know what you're talking about. They got the big old goofy faces and everything like that.
But I think it's so great, and it's so. I think especially for 1995,
Or 7.
The 7, sorry.
It's just weird. Like I actually thought this movie was 1995 until I saw the thing pop up at the very end of the movie. It was like 97. I was like, I'm like, boy, if you would have asked me like literally a couple days before watching this again, I would have told you this movie was 95. I don't know why, but like that's what I always had in my mind. It was 95.
Yeah. No, but I guess it all comes to a blur to me anyway. Like every time I think about, The Fifth Element, Armageddon, Core. That's what I thought of next. But yeah, a lot
Stargate
of Stargate
kind of reminds me of this similar kind of one.
Stargate, Shawshank Redemption, like a lot of these movies. I'm telling you, like I know they have nothing to do with each other, but I'm just like, it came out in the 90s sometime. I don't know. 95, 94, 99, 2000. I don't know. But I think this is definitely another one of the films that you can say they definitely don't make them like that anymore.
Yeah.
Well,
I'll even say this because you mentioned the special effects and everything like that. What really makes, and I think this is what makes kind of like the 90s, in my personal opinion, kind of like the last like giant age of cinema. Because even though I like movies in 2000, I even like movies nowadays. I'm not saying anything against that, but you can tell that the quality kind of dips. Like it's almost like they can't put the same amount of money that they used to be able to put in movies. Because in this one here, it's like the fact that you have that blending part of like so many special effects coming together. So you got models and you got cool little vehicles and things like that. You got the miniatures, you got costumes and prosthetics and makeup and everything like that. And then to top it off, on top of it, you throw CG and everything in there. You know, where like nowadays you pretty much ixnay all that and you only have CG. You don't have any more stuff. So they kind of feel, movies have that little bit of a hollow and, cheaper feel. They can still be good movies, but there's just something that always feels a little bit like it's missing, like it's not tangible or anything like that. Where you look at Fifth Element, it's like all these different divisions of arts are all coming together to put the best of the best forward and show, costumes and all this sort of stuff that you would just never get anymore. Nobody would spend money like this on movies and have all these extras in it, especially like that opera scene and everything like that.
Oh,
like,
yes.
Jesus.
That's an awesome scene. And it used to, when I was a kid, that's one of the scenes that I remember seeing, and it terrified me. That blue woman just scared the crap out of me. I didn't know what to think. It was, when it was on TV, I'd look away, and I just didn't like it. But no, it's something else. I truly believe that I agree with everything he said about the effects and everything, and I really feel like I don't know why. Maybe it's just because I love Lord of the Rings so much, but I feel like that was kind of like the peak of cinema when it comes to all the the practical effects, CGI, makeup, everything, the costumes, the props, the miniatures, like you said. I feel like that was like peak cinema, and I don't know what it is, but whatever they were doing with their CGI now, like if you watch it now, like we rewatched the 3 movies in their extended versions. I want to say like probably like 8 months ago or something. We watched the extended versions of them.
of Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, neither of us had ever watched them. So we just decided to. And there's a few scenes in each of those that I'm like, I wish they would have had this in the original movie. Like it would have made a little more sense. Like Faramir and Boromir's relationship with their dad and stuff. Like
his dad's such an ass.
Yeah. Like in the theatrical cut, it's kind of like there's no explanation. He's just a dick, and you like you don't know why. And then of course you find out a little bit more of that in the extended. But anyway,
yeah, those are the movies where I feel like I kind of only watch the extended ones because I bought like those original DVD sets back in the day, and I got them on Blu-ray and so on. It's like. And it's weird because it's like they're not as easy to get the extended cuts. I don't know why. You always have to spend like an extra $20 for those movies to get the extended ones.
Yeah,
they'll practically give away the theatrical ones.
Yeah, but yeah, of course, I feel like if you watch those now, you can see how it is a little aged, but I still think it holds up so well. Kind of like Fifth Element. I think the Fifth Element, like Lord of the Rings, they hold up so well, and they don't compared to a lot of other films like. Obviously, Mortal Kombat Annihilation CGI is embarrassing. So that does not hold up very well by today's standards at all. Yes, exactly. But the or Blade 2's jumpy scenes and Catwoman. Anyway, I feel like, and I don't know if I'm onto something or once again I'm full of crap, but the CGI used in Lord of the Rings about that time, primarily with those films and maybe others I don't know about, it seems to me like it was almost perfect, the way that everything blended. And since then, every time I see things that are CGI in films, it's like, why does it seem like it gets worse? One example of that is I Am Legend. Mm-hmm. When I first saw that, at first, when you see like a glimpse of the mutated humans, mm-hmm. it's like a shadowy scene. You don't really see them up close. And at first I'm like, ooh, wow, those look really scary. Like Dawn of the Dead scary. And then, or dare I even say The Walking Dead? Because my wife and I are watching that right now. And the zombies in that show look fantastic a lot of the times because it's practical, it's real.
Yeah, they still use real effects, and that gives a lot more.
Oh man! And then of course, a few scenes later, where you actually see the mutants in I Am Legend, like up close in the light, I was like, I got disappointed because I'm like, this doesn't look good. It just looks cartoony, and I feel like CGI as a whole, for whatever reason, it looks more and more cartoony. It's almost like they're making it too good or something. Like, I don't know if there's something to that. Like, it's too polished, too animated, too computer generated, but it just doesn't look nice to me.
Yeah, no, I agree. I used to have a hard time watching a lot of CG stuff. I only kind of came around in like the last, I don't know, decade plus, but like it used to always kind of bother me when movies would get way too CG and so on like that.
The Hobbit, man, like I was so taken back when I saw that first one, because when you think, oh, Peter Jackson, the guy that did Lord of the Rings, which is awesome, is doing The Hobbit, and then you go see that first movie and you're like, why does this look like this? And I'm going to defend it because I still like the movies.
I was going to say, because I still like those ones quite a bit, that trilogy.
I do. Like, I really like those movies. But it was just, it looks wildly different than Lord of the Rings, that first Hobbit movie. The second two, they probably do as well. I don't really... It's just because that first one, it'd been a while since you'd seen Return of the King, and then you go see The Hobbit in theaters, and the way the dwarves looked so much more exaggerated than, say, Gimli. Gimli looked like just a dude, a tiny man. And the Thorin and some of the other dwarves in The Hobbit looked very cartoony.
Like Snow White.
Yeah. Like if all the dwarves in Snow White were criminals. But still, though, no shade on that movie. It's just how I felt like things were consistently changing and not for the better with CGI. But going back to the Fifth Element, I think it, like you were saying, everything comes together so well. Thank goodness that he had a budget.
He had a big budget. There was a $90 million French movie. I think this one was like the most expensive French and European movie for like years. Like, I think it almost took it says 2011 was when one, like a French or... Yeah, well, I guess it would have been still a European movie. So, 2011, The Untouchables, which I don't know whatever that movie is. Never saw that one. That's the movie that finally surpassed it. But let's be honest, that might have only surpassed it due to inflation. You know what I mean?
Maybe so.
Sometimes people forget to take that into, so 90 million back then would probably be like 180 million plus nowadays. So.
Yeah, no kidding. $90 million budget, and then made over $263 million.
Yeah, well, this movie was popular, though, because I remember in 1997, it was one of those ones where it's like everybody had to go out and see it in cinemas, and if you didn't see it in cinemas, well, hey, that's okay. They're going to play the living daylights out of this thing on TV for like years to come. You'll see it on everything from HBO to TBS and TNT.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
It was one of those movies I just remember I used to just tune on TV just all the time. And there it is, yeah. And you'd watch, you watch different clips of it and so on like that. I mean, it fell in that same circuit as like Batman Forever and Armageddon.
Yeah.
And a lot of other movies of that time period. And so that's where I just watched a lot of it was like
Gladiator.
Yeah, Gladiator 2 especially coming up. And yeah, I would just see a lot of it there, so that you would just see it in those bits and pieces. And then of course, I got the DVD and so on from there on out. But
we should watch Gladiator only to bother my wife.
She didn't like Gladiator?
It's not she didn't like Gladiator.
Does she not like Walking Phoenix?
No, there's nothing about that either. So it has nothing to do with the film itself. It has everything to do with the fact that same thing with the movie Troy, and honestly, just a lot of other movies. Her father would watch these movies like over and over and over. Like if they was on TV and he was home, he was watching them.
Sword and Sandals.
So I would, yes. And I'd ask her, I'm like, hey, have you ever seen, I'll ask her this all the time. You ever seen Gladiator? I can't remember. Have you seen Gladiator? She's like, how many times is the question. I would love to see what she's, I'm just going to do that to her later. I'm going to go downstairs. I'm going to say, hey, you know what? I want to watch a movie. Let's watch Gladiator. She's probably going to like, I'm going to bed.
Yeah, just too much. That's the thing is like, well, there's that thing where sometimes like dads will get really obsessed with a movie and they'll watch the living daylights out of it. Remember a movie that was, I remember like one that used to be like, I remember a handful of dads I knew that were like obsessed with it was like Apocalypto when that came out. They watched the living daylights out of that thing.
I love Apocalypto, actually.
Great movie. Mel Gibson's just the fucking man.
It was directed by the Beaver, actually.
The Beaver was in control. Oh man, but whatever. Back to Fifth Element and so on like that. And what's the interesting thing too is this movie's got like the storyline is like a very straight to the point, very simple, but like almost like it works in the way that like the story's super simple, but because of that, it allows like all the characters and everything around it to be very extreme. And I feel like that's what guides it, because it really is just one of those stories where it's just like, there's this, 5,000 years from now, there's something bad's going to happen, and we're going to need these elements, the core ones that you've seen since Final Fantasy days, earth and fire, air or whatever. And, literally like what you're going to need to summon Captain Planet. Because literally, if you think about it, there's the fifth element, which is pretty much Milla Jovovich, but what that truly ends up being is it is heart, it is love. So it's literally the Captain Planet. Like, so by bringing all five of these together, Captain Planet should show up, and he should take care of this giant meteor fireball thing coming.
That's what
destroy Earth. So
as we're watching it, of course, we're talking about the thing about the romance between Bruce Willis and Lilu, and the
multi-pass.
We're like, yeah, it's kind of weird. And I'm like, well, I think part of it is the dude's like, he's a grown man, of course. He's like 40 something. I think he says he's 46. I don't quite remember though. And then she, she's young. She's like 19, but she's also like an ancient being. So she's not exactly young. But of course, for what we perceive as we are looking at Milla Jovovich in her late teens, she's a young girl. And then you got to remind yourself of two things. It's French.
The biggest one.
And then the second thing is it's part of, like you said, she's love. It's gotta happen. It's gotta work. You know what I mean? And Bruce Willis is the one who's there to make it happen. That love happens so that she can save the damn universe. And that's even what the blue alien, I wanted to say matriarch. Here I am thinking about Mass Effect. The diva. The diva had said to him, she needs your love. So, I mean, it's part of the whole prophecy. It's part of how she's supposed to work. And as unfortunate as it is, she's pretty much just a kind of a weapon.
That's really what she is. She's dangerous. She's got like all these skills. She can literally learn stuff extraordinarily fast. They have those scenes
it also kind of reminds me a little bit of Outlaw Star.
Well, it has a lot of anime elements, I feel, in here. in a time period where people probably wouldn't have put two and two together that's what it was. But like in hindsight, you're like, oh no, there is a lot of anime stuff going on.
Yeah, and Outlaw Star definitely predates. Well, I think The Fifth Element is based on a book, isn't it?
No. So it's Luc Besson. Like he literally came up with this story when he was like 16, and then he pretty much fleshed it out all the way up to when he was 38 when he finally got to make the movie. So
Gotcha.
and going back to that, in the original story that he made, Milla Jovovich is 2,000 years old. So if anybody's got a problem with this romance thing, she's the cougar.
That's So, I mean, that's what I was saying. Like,
Bruce Willis is just a young lad comparatively. He's practically in his diapers by
she's
her
grooming
standard.
him. Yeah. Yeah. But
Once you think of it like that, you're like, oh, geez, Bruce goes for those real old ladies, I guess.
Yeah. It's disgusting. The
he's one of the picking them up at the senior homes.
What was I gonna? But yeah,
she's so old that she was literally a hand of a corpse at the very beginning, and they had to bring her back to life by cloning.
That's funny. You say the hand of the corpse. It's. I was thinking about too, like right after it happened in the beginning of the film, where you first see those aliens who are good guys, and then they open up that tomb. The priest is about to kill the archaeologist for whatever reason. Like he didn't really even say why not, or why he was going to do it. He's like, "Oh, they know too much. I'm going to have to kill him." And didn't quite understand why he wanted to kill him, but whatever. But the when that one alien goes into the room and doesn't leave with the other aliens, and then that ding dong who shot him accidentally, the archaeologist assistant, he trips on himself, accidentally shoots the alien, and then all of a sudden the door starts closing, and he puts his arm out like here, and that key goes through his finger, and the archaeologist is like, oh, okay, great, I got it. Or and all I thought of, and I said it to my wife, I said, I don't know why he wouldn't just use that key and open that door back up and let his alien buddy out.
Yeah, what an ass. The one thing he needed to reopen the door, and you're like, oh, well, whatever, I guess he doesn't need this anymore.
Like, why wouldn't he? Whatever. I mean, like, yeah, sure, his hand's probably decimated, but, you could at least let him out. Poor guy.
Yeah, exactly.
Got here to save your freaking life, and your whole world. I don't know.
1910. They don't know any better, I guess.
But no, it's I love that scene too, with him and the two little Egyptian boys trying to give him the light. They couldn't. Just constantly nagging at I don't know. But what a time it must have been to be an archaeologist, where like nobody's going to be talking back to you if you're not the same color. And
yeah, you just like, I'm here. I have to figure out the secrets of the world right now. One of those ones.
And I almost feel bad for not bringing it up already, but one of the greatest actors alive, Gary Oldman.
Yeah, I almost think he is the best actor of all time. Like, I literally cannot think of somebody who is more charismatic, plays more ridiculously different roles from each other.
Oh, yeah.
And just and especially at this time period, because dude, he's in this movie and his character is just chewing scenery. He's like this. He's an arms dealer guy who pretty much moonlights in a sense as like an art dealer.
Yeah.
And he's got this goofy Southern accent in there just to top it all off. And then his costume and everything about it. It's just amazing.
And what's hilarious about that too is I actually had never heard his real accent until today when I was flipping through that video that you sent me with the making of. And I was like, I didn't know he was British or whatever he is. And I'm listening to that, and then I think he did that wacky combination of a Southern accent, because it's like a handful of different dialect accent, whatever, that they just kind of made. And I'm thinking, that guy is doing that right now. And then I thought, This guy's also is it Lindbergh, the guy from Office Space, the boss.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He's that. He's also the dude from Lawless, the FBI agent or whatever he is.
Yep. If you've ever seen True Romance, he plays literally the white pimp.
Yep.
but he plays it as black as possible.
True Romance, Dracula.
Yep.
Like the list goes on, and it's just freaking awesome. That like I can't imagine this movie without Gary Oldman's character in it, and he's an interesting villain too. He's a total cutthroat villain, but he's not without his reservations either. I didn't expect him to just let the priest go because he saved his life, and that was a hilarious scene. And that weird little pet that he has in his desk.
Just like there. Oh. Yeah. And I like how he's looking to that pet for help. He's like choking on like a cherry or something like that. And that priest just knows he's got him literally over a barrel at this point.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
You know, Gary Oldman's looking at that like creature right there, you know, and the creature's looking up, giving him like, I don't know what to do, boss.
I don't know why that reminded me of Total Recall. The scene where they show that weird freaking like it's not an alien, I guess it's a mutated person with that weird like looks like a freaking like a goiter or a freaking growth of a person. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, Quado, yeah. On the belly where he's like,
yeah.
You know,
I don't know why that made me think of that.
Yeah. Well, that's another one. Is I feel this movie does have some elements of both. I would say Total Recall and Running Man as well. There's a lot of stuff that kind of reminds me of that.
It's like it's not quite post-apocalyptic in this movie. It's just so like that, kind of like sci-fi, almost dystopian kind of. Because I mean, let's face it, I don't think New Jersey's much of a place to write home about as it is. But then in this place, it's like it looks like the underworld of everywhere. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, it's a weird movie. It's like it's kind of this futuristic, but it doesn't look like it's kind of like Blade Runner where it has this like dark overtone to it.
Yeah.
You know that like things still look like they're kind of good. It looks like things are still kind of working out. It's not as perfect as everybody kind of thought it was going to be. I think that's like how I kind of view it. Like you got all these cool little futuristic devices and so on like that. Especially even like when they show Bruce Willis's character's apartment and it goes through and just all like the gadgets he sort of has, like the bed. Literally, when he gets up from it, it folds up and it like literally just has another one in there. So it's like it has like an auto wash or something like that.
That whole scene where like so of course the there's this whole thing about I'm going to start over. One thing I love about this movie is how everything starts tying in with each other. It's like it's a really good example of how for anyone who believes in something like predestination, I don't know if I believe in that, but this movie is like it makes a great case for that kind of thing because the way that everything lines up, the way that everything fits into each other, makes everything work out. Lilu needs to get to that planet or needs to get somewhere to get those stones and whatnot for how she needs to save the universe, and then
for her destiny.
How does she do that? Oh, she's got to go on that boat, the big space boat. And of course Corbin, he wants to fall in love with the woman. He's sad because his wife left him with his therapist. Story we've all heard 1,000 times, but
his mom's calling and always bitching.
Oh yeah, and so he needs to. So he wants love in his life, and then this thing that's going to save the universe needs love to work, and also so happens to be a beautiful ancient woman. And then they both have the federal government wants Corbin to get on this boat and go save the world. And so it's just like the way that everything lines up is really cool. And then of course another, at the time probably an A-list actor, the Ruby Rod, Chris Tucker. Got to be my favorite role that he's ever done.
Well, and this is still kind of Chris Tucker before Actually, no, I take it back because he would have just done Friday.
He did Friday for sure. That was
so
94.
Friday was the big one. He did. He's in Money Talks with Charlie Sheen.
And then I think Rush Hour came after or before.
Yeah, technically Rush Hour, it's the same year as this. I can't remember exactly which one came. So that would have been like right at the same time period, you know. So this is where Chris Tucker is kind of like he hits the, you know,
this is like
he's kind of a major actor for about the next 5 years.
Then he fell off, but
yeah, then he kind of disappeared, and you know, once in a blue moon he'll appear in something, and I get kind of excited whenever I see him back in another movie.
The dude's hilarious, and I wish there would have been more popular movies with him throughout the years. Why that didn't happen is I don't know. Who knows? I guess he knows, but just the character is so funny. I'm not gonna lie. I love seeing characters that you don't expect being drag queens.
Yes,
playing drag queens, and I think it makes it like all the funnier. The stupid haircut that he has in the beginning. Oh, he always has a stupid haircut in the movie.
They kind of remind me of almost like Space Dennis Rodman kind of looks going on.
Yeah. But just the mannerisms, everything, he nailed it. This goofy, he's like a talk show host kind of.
Yeah, he pretty much is literally like some kind of, you know, sci-fi talk show host that literally does his shows kind of almost like reality TV, but kind of like pre-reality TV actually, because he's walking around, he's got like his microphone like picks up everybody it goes around, which is his staff and everything, and he sort of just does things live and kind of on the fly.
Yeah, no, it's so dang funny. I don't even know what else to say about him, is because he doesn't do a whole lot other than you know, scream, talk really fast, and accidentally kill shit, you know.
Yeah.
But it's such a great character to kind of, what do you call it, make everything a bit well rounded, and it makes sense. You know, you have Bruce Willis, who's the calm, you know, like level headed commando pilot, who's fighting these aliens with a something or another gendered radio show host. Drag queen radio show.
He's like banging every chick that he sees along the way.
Exactly.
So if you were wondering, it's very French.
Now that I think about it, once again, yeah, it just keeps coming up. Oh yeah,
French. It's like, yeah, just in case if you were forgetting it was French, they remind you, you know.
I don't know. What's kind of funny, and it also reminded me of another, I guess A-lister at the time. Maybe he was kind of falling off about this time or getting back in the spotlight, was Wesley Snipes. Ruby Rod made me think of, I don't know if you've heard of this movie, but Tu Wong Fu.
Yes. He's got Patrick Swayze and also
and John Leguizamo.
Yeah.
As the drag queen.
I have that one on DVD. I remember when I first ran across the movie, I'm like, oh, I have to see what this is all about.
That's a funny movie. It's a pretty good movie.
Yeah, it actually is a pretty good one. It almost doesn't look like that should be real. You look at the cover of that, you're like, there's no way that this is, especially when you think Patrick Swayze as well too. I'm like, that's so ballsy.
Patrick Swayze was the last person I expected, and then to see Wesley Snipes as well, I was like,
yeah. Okay.
What?
John Leguizamo, I can see.
Yeah, I know. That's kind of what I was.
That one wasn't as surprising. He's kind of a character actor that way.
But when I saw Ruby Rod, I was like, hey, you know what? This kind of reminds me of a way more better. What's his name? I don't remember his name in the movie, of course, but Wesley Snipes, yeah, and Tu Wong Fu. But yeah, no, that was hilarious, and I was glad to see that. I don't know. It's these movies like this. Most movies, I think, it's always the characters that you don't expect to live. You know, or I guess I should say the average moviegoer doesn't expect Ruby Rod to make it to the end. You know, that'd be the person you go, well, that guy's gonna die. But I don't know. I always love that's the way it goes. And actually, you know, I think I just realized there's really not anybody that dies in this movie, except for villains. The only person that dies is the blue alien.
Yeah, and then Bruce Willis pulls stones out of her stomach.
Yeah. That's so funny when he's like, "Where are the stones? You got to tell me where the stones are." And then she says, "They're in me," and he's still sitting there for like 5 minutes, like,
what? She's like, I have really bad kidney stones.
But yeah, no, that's freaking hilarious.
Well, even speaking of Chris Tucker, there's actually another person from Friday in here too. Is Tiny Lister Jr. is in here too, and he plays the president. Yeah, Debo, which is always amazing, you know. And
he's a great actor.
He's super good actor, and that's the thing about this movie. This movie has just a ton of people that you're like, oh shit, that guy's in there too. And you know, even people that maybe you don't recognize their names. There's a lot of people you recognize the face and everything like that. Like, it is a huge cast.
I think Lister Jr.'s gone by a couple different names in his time, because if I remember correctly, in Friday in the credits they list him as Tiny Zeus Lister Jr.
That sounds about kind of right. I almost want to say it's something like that.
And then in this it's Tommy Tiny Lister Jr. But yeah, no, it's a bummer that guy passed a few years ago. He I think one of his last movies might have been The Dark Knight.
I guess that's true. Yeah,
because he was in the boat, you know, when the Joker had the bombs and in them, and he just threw it out the window. You know, he was the criminal that ended up being a nice guy. You know.
Yeah.
But I don't know if you ever heard of this movie. I haven't seen it in probably like 20-something years. It's called Street Corner Justice.
You know, that name sounds familiar, but I can't tell you if I've seen it.
The Lister Jr.'s in it, and he plays a reformed criminal who helps this other guy. Like, it's from it's from 1996. Street Corner Justice. So
right before The Fifth Element.
Yeah, the Mark Singer is the main character. And there's a handful of other people. It's not a huge film. Like it probably didn't do very well. 2 stars out of 5 from Empire. But I thought it was awesome when I first saw it. I don't know if you're familiar with the director Charles Bale, Chuck Bale. He's done Cleopatra Jones, Casino of Gold, Gumball Rally, Choke Canyon. Anyway, Black Samson.
Okay, I do know that one.
But anyway, he's a guy who there's very little information about the movie, probably because it was terrible. But Zeus Lister Jr. plays a reformed criminal who ends up just like they're vigilantes basically, and he's taking these people out left and right, and then he gets beat up at near the end or something. But I remember that was the strangest film that I saw him in. Not because of his character, it seemed like the film kind of came out of nowhere. I remember watching on TV, and it was just another kind of generic, gritty crime action film. You know, like if you could take Commando or Action Jackson or something and just reduce the budget by like half. You know, and
yeah, you get like almost like maybe like a Raw Deal even for an Arnold one. Even though I like Raw Deal a lot, but it always feels like it's kind of like his lower budget movie.
Yeah, but yeah, no, I thought it was awesome. Him as the president. It kind of it reminded me of, I think it's in Simpsons where Arnold Schwarzenegger is the president. Or he might have just been a governor, because I think the Simpsons did Trump as president too, if I'm not wrong. I don't know. You know how the Simpsons are.
Yeah. Well, Simpsons. I think they made Arnold as a president. Like, it was in like the late '90s or something like that.
Yeah.
Or the 2000s. You know, because that was kind of the thing. I mean, Arnold's the president, and speaking of another movie that's kind of in that Fifth Element style is Demolition Man. Because when Stallone gets the future and he goes and he sees a picture of Arnold Schwarzenegger as the president, you know, because that's that type of where everybody has the back and forth, like in Last Action Hero.
Yeah.
Literally, you know, they go in there and they see, and Danny Madigan sees the Terminator 2 poster, but it's got literally Stallone on there, which I think is pretty badass. I would love just to, in an alternative world, I would love to be able to see like Stallone in the entire movie. I just want to see Stallone as a Terminator.
That'd be interesting. Gosh. Yeah, I there was something that was making me think of, and I couldn't remember what it was, but now I just remembered Terry Crews as the president in Idiocracy.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. There's so many things about this movie, too, that we've already said a ton of different comparisons and just like things that make you reminisce or think about things that came later, like, oh, this is just like this, oh, it's just like that, it's just like this. I think it's pretty rare to find a movie that has so many direct and indirect connections, and that's I think it's super cool.
No, yeah, there's just a lot going on in this film, and just from everything. You know, it's one thing I think is really neat too is there's that scene where Gary Oldman is showing off pretty much his weapons and all that kind of stuff, and he pulls out that one gun that has, at first he shoots and he was like, watch, all you have to do is
9 different guns.
Yeah, you shoot this one bullet, you know, there to your target, and then from that point on, all the rest of the bullets will go and track right to it. So then he starts blasting it right at the guys, and they're all jumping back like, oh shit! But then all the bullets go and they hit there, which I almost want to say that's the very first time I ever saw a gun like that. But then after that, you would see that a lot in video games where there'd be like that tracer kind of gun.
It made me think of Ratchet and Clank.
Oh yeah, I guess that's true. I didn't think about that. But I felt like you would see that gun like in a lot of games where like,
oh yeah,
it would have like, you know, the auto targeting and so on like that. And not only that, that gun has all kinds of other stuff. It's got rockets in it. It's got poison darts. It got flamethrower. My favorite. Yeah, then the net, which I love later on when like the bad guys are all trying out, they like shoot the net at each other like idiots.
The one of the things that really reminded me of Mass Effect 2 was so I guess it's like 2/3 of the way in the film, maybe a little sooner. Gary Oldman's assistant is like, oh, phone call for you, and he's like, I told you not to, and she said, I know, but it's Mr. Darkness or whatever the hell it was, and that made me think of the Shadow Broker from Mass Effect. Yeah, well, the Shadow Broker was not with Cerberus. He was.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Which, interestingly enough, like in the first game, I loved the first Mass Effect. The Mass Effect 2, I thought it was fun, but it didn't do the same.
See, you're like me because there's very few people out there that are like that. But I was the same way. I loved the living daylights out of Mass Effect 1. I thought that game was so good.
Call me crazy, but I thought the graphics were a little better too.
Yeah, I think so. They're a little bit slicker and everything like that. Because I remember when I got that game, like I played it over 3 times in a row because I was like that into it. And then I finally got Mass Effect 2, and that was already out at the time.
I was disappointed.
I was too. I was like, oh, like, because what bothered me,
huge man.
Well, what bothered me is that Mass Effect 1 was such a unique and interesting game, and there was nothing else out there like it. And Mass Effect 2,
it was like a reskinned Gears of War.
Yes, literally, it's like it's sold out. Like for all of a sudden, you're reloading your guns. That wasn't part of it. The whole point was like Mass Effect 1 had like RPG elements, and you leveled things up and everything like that. And Mass Effect 2 pretty much took the RPG elements and just they tossed them out. Like you level up a couple things, but I think it does nothing in the game. I don't think it makes a single difference.
Yeah, no, it was pretty lame. I love the game, but not nearly as much as
that's how I feel too. Mass Effect 1 is like so high. It's almost like a perfect game. Mass Effect 2, I still like it. It's still got a great story, still good characters, but it drops. I will say Mass Effect 3 though brings back better gameplay than 2. So there is a little bit more RPG. It's not as good as the first one, but the gameplay is definitely much more dialed in the third one. The only downfall by the third one, though, is like the story choices. Because like that first one, like it had like your story choices made such a difference. And then 2, they kind of did as well. But 3, I hate to sort of say it doesn't really do anything. It just kind of is very linear. It's kind of a bummer, but it's still worth playing. But
yeah, I'll get back to it eventually here.
I'll say this: I probably like 3 just as much as I like 2, and each one just has different things I like more.
Now, have you tried Andromeda?
I did. I got that when it first came out, and I felt bad because I think it came out with, I think Zelda came out the same time as it, and then I never kind of got back to it. But I personally liked Andromeda a lot. I only got to play, maybe 5 hours or so, and I said I was going to come back to it and never did. And I know a lot of people didn't like that one, but what I liked about it is, once again, the RPG element was a lot more prevalent in that one. And I felt like it brought a lot more elements from Mass Effect 1 back into it. One of these days, I just need to sit down. Maybe we'll do a podcast on that. That'll force us to sit down and play through it.
Man, yeah. But yeah.
Have you ever seen the Mass Effect movie?
No.
It's an animated one, but
no.
EA used to. It was kind of cool because EA used to make a bunch of animated movies, like kind of no different than those Mortal Kombat ones we watched. So there's a Mass Effect one. I can't remember if there's 2 of them, but there's at least one. There's a Dead Space one that's really good.
I've seen a Dead Space film. I don't know if there's more than one, but
there might be 2 Dead Space because one of them has 2. It's either Mass Effect or Dead
the one
Space.
I saw was brutal as crap.
Yeah, I thought it was really good. And then they also did one for Dante's Inferno that I thought was really good too. But there was a cool time period where EA was actually putting out these little standalone animated ones, and they totally came and went for most people. But I liked it.
Yeah,
maybe that's another one we could throw on one of these days. That old Mass Effect movie.
Yeah, no, but yeah, that Shadow Broker thing. In Mass Effect 1, you learn about the Shadow Broker. You come across like messages or something about the Shadow Broker, but you don't find out exactly. You don't get to see the Shadow Broker until unless you get the DLC. And once you finally do, you fight the Shadow Broker, and I'm not gonna lie, that might have been one of the only things that I was like, I was kind of expecting something a little more sinister, because the Shadow Broker like knows everything about everything, and it's just like this big alien, I think, like massive alien, but like it made me think of like if Jabba the Hutt was like had any agility at all. Because I don't know if you ever played the fought the Shadow Broker in that first game.
I've played everything, so I know I must have. It's just so you fight him on the moon. Is that
I think so. I think so.
And then that was the only DLC mission I remember was the one where you're on the moon.
And after you kill him, later on you learn. I think it's in Mass Effect 2. You learn that Liara becomes a Shadow Broker. Yeah,
because that's right. Because that's a humongous like DLC where she's the Shadow Broker in the second one.
Yeah, but but anyway, yeah. It made me think when he gets that phone call and it's this like super dark voice, like a sinister sounding voice, like, oh yeah, you know what's gonna happen, blah blah blah. And oh man, was that not the most hilarious thing too when he flies to the ship, gets what he thinks is the stones, and then takes off, opens up the case, he starts laughing, and of course, like, they're not there. That was a freaking hilarious scene.
Well, this movie has a lot of good comedy. That's like the thing that like you wouldn't expect about it. Because it was funny because I was watching a trailer just to kind of refresh myself, and it's funny the trailer played the movie out very serious and very straight. I'm like, it's kind of not really what this is. It's kind of it's still an action movie first and foremost, of course, but it's kind of just got some wackiness in it, that kind of is part of its charm.
I got to tell you, the action, drama, suspense, if you will, that's all put into this film. I feel like the pacing's not much different than, say, like, I wanted to say the Avengers, the first Avengers film, or maybe this, I don't know. A lot of those Marvel films have like sections of the movie that go a little slow. They got those scenes of serious dialogue, like we need to figure out what to do, whatever. But as far as the action goes and everything, I feel like this isn't that different from one of those films. But the difference is how they implement the comedy is so much better.
Yes, it's not bad slapsticky like a lot of times the Marvel movies can be.
Yeah, no, it's not cheap and just. What were you gonna say?
I was gonna say, which I will tell you, if you've not seen Fantastic Four, the new one yet, Marvel finally did it right. They made the movie serious.
Wow.
They took it like DC serious almost. I'm not saying it doesn't have a little bit of comedy. I mean, of course, Ben Grimm and Johnny are gonna bicker a little bit back and forth, but for the most part, it's like it's extremely serious. It feels as serious as like a 2000s like Marvel movie, like what they used to kind of feel like.
Interesting. Like it's probably not quite as serious as, say, Punisher Warzone. But
yeah,
I laughed my ass off in that movie.
Or not as serious as there's actually Jigsaw's kind of funny in that one. Not as serious as Blade Trinity, I guess I would say too. But
I'm just curious. Have you watched the Netflix Punisher at all?
No, I couldn't get into it. And it's weird because I love Punisher. But I'm just not a TV person. I tried watching like the first couple episodes, and I was like, dude, he's doing nothing. It's like
it's a very slow show. Very slow. And I watched the whole first season. I didn't have it in me to watch the second. I started watching it, and I was like, yeah, this is just kind of boring. It really, like, the first one was boring, but I love the Punisher so much that I wanted to see, and I think while I was watching it, I think I was just not doing anything at home. Like, I think I just got out of the military and was just.
And you're watching this guy who just got out of the military is working like a construction job.
I'm like, this guy's an idiot.
Well, the thing too is, I think John Berthal's actually extremely good at Punisher. I would just like to see him get a movie. I just feel like, stop giving him this cheap TV show stuff and give him the real deal.
But I got to say, that's one of the most brutal scenes I've seen by anything Marvel was I think it's the last episode where he fights. I guess he is Jigsaw. I think he's Jigsaw. It's his buddy. They were in the military together. Something handsome, whatever the hell. I don't freaking remember. Billy. Billy. Isn't Jigsaw's name Billy something?
I can't remember off the top of my head what his real name is. Your guess is as good as mine. As I said, I only got 2 episodes into that, so.
Either way, he's fighting him at a carousel, and he slams his head against a mirror, cracks it, and it breaks, and he takes a dude's face and just puts it against it and drags him all the way down it.
Nice.
And it's like unnecessarily long.
See, that's the thing is, I almost feel I wish somebody would just put together like a very abridged version of that Punisher show that edit it down to like maybe 2.5 hours of like just the good stuff and cut all the junk out of there. Mm-hmm. And I think I would be totally that could
there's
go for
some
a lot
killer
of
scenes
shows.
In that show. Like there's killer scenes. And some great stories in it, but at the same time, it's just like every other show. They're just so drawn out. And because I really did like him as Punisher too, and I loved Tom Paine as
Thomas Jane,
not Tom Paine. That's another actor. Tom Jane, I loved him as the Punisher, but then after I watched the one with Ray Stevenson, and then watched the one with John Bernthal, I'm like, it's not so much Tom Jane that I didn't like as some of the parts of the movie, but then even then it's almost like Tom Jane was almost not brutal enough.
Well, that movie's kind of it's almost kind of like Blade Trinity. It kind of has a similar vibe to that. You got a lot of comic relief characters in there, and even though there is some serious stuff, and I do think that actually in that Thomas Jane one, the one ballsy thing about that one is because the normal Punisher like origin story is that his family, as in his wife and kid or kids, die. And that's it. Where I thought in that one it was kind of ballsy. It's like, oh no, they killed the extended family. Like I was like, oh that's actually kind of.
They killed his whole freaking family.
Yeah,
I was like,
that to me, I was like, oh, that's taking the comic book a little bit farther. I'm like, okay, that's.
Yeah, that was pretty nuts. But I still love that movie. But
same here. It's still a nostalgic classic.
But I thought John Bernthal did a good job too, and I would love to see him in his own show. What's interesting about those Marvel shows, which some of them I guess are getting revivals.
I heard that.
Not on Netflix though. Don't care, but it's not on Netflix. But it's Disney interesting Plus. That they are in the same universe as the rest of the Marvel movies and stuff, but they don't feel like it. You feel like you're watching something that's going on in real life, especially with the Punisher show, because he's just a guy.
Well, they're so grounded. I kind of hate to sort of say it, but like. They almost need to kind of make them feel like they kind of all work in the same way. Like it's not saying anything wrong with Punisher being grounded, but I feel like you maybe should make a little bit more of the over the top version of the Punisher to make him more superhero like, where he's got a little bit more gadgets and he's got more crazy guns and so on like that. And then you can have things like Spider-Man and Daredevil.
I was just say like have a John Bernthal beat the crap out of Tom Holland, like
exactly. Why? It's kind of the same way I felt about it was what bothered me about that Daredevil like TV shows. They try to ground it so much. They try to make Daredevil like Batman, like he doesn't have powers. I'm like, dude, Daredevil literally gets hit by radioactive junk in the face. Yes. That gives him superpowers. Like what do people not understand that? Like it's literally like if Spider-Man just got bit by a regular spider. You know what I mean? It's like, what? And he's like, oh yeah, but so now he's just jumping around building. Well,
the real reason why Spider-Man can do everything he does is because he's inbred, and
yeah. So I think that's one of those ones about the Daredevil show. That one kind of bothered me too, where it's just like, that's not Daredevil. Like I was like,
yeah, but
yeah.
So, anyway,
but yeah, that has nothing to do with the Fifth Element. That's like the seventh element. That,
seventh or eighth.
That doesn't matter. But yeah, I want to ask you this: did you ever play? There was a Fifth Element video game for PlayStation 1.
I did not, and
I never did either. I kind of wonder.
It's funny you bring that up because if you never brought that up to me, I'd go the rest of my life forgetting that it existed completely. But as soon as you said that, I remembered it perfectly. But
yeah,
no,
I remember always seeing it in the stores. That was like, I always remember like, I wonder what that's going to be like.
I'm curious. I might have to pull that up on YouTube and just like watch the gameplay.
Yeah.
I'm sure that's got to be interesting to say the least, even if it sucks.
Yeah. But, I kind of looked a little bit up of it because I was just checking on it. And it had like decent enough reviews. Nothing like great, but it wasn't bad. So I bet you could still kind of have a little bit of fun with it.
Probably, most likely, I would say. Hey, it's always worth trying it.
Yeah, I'm always one who kind of generally is. I'm almost more pro movie tie-in games. I know there's some bad apples out there, but I think actually there's more that stand out as being actually pretty good than there is bad, in my opinion. I know most people look at it the other way around, but like I always kind of like it because mostly it adds a little bit more story, and as long as you like the movie as is, it gives more context and so on, which is kind of nice.
Yeah, no, that's I think the first movie game I ever played it had to be Street Fighter, the movie, the game.
The one that like looks like Mortal Kombat. Yeah. It actually doesn't play that bad, to tell you the truth. I mean, it's not as good as Street Fighter, but they get it more dialed in than you would think.
It's probably Jean-Claude Van Damme's only video game appearance. I don't know.
Yeah, I know that's a good question. I'm trying to think if there's actually a Jean-Claude Van Damme movie or game off one of his other movies, but I cannot think of one, to tell you the truth. I don't know. Who knows? But it's not like Stallone and Arnold that got a bunch of games, and all that stuff. But I was kind of curious about what that Fifth Element game was like. The other thing that's kind of interesting too is the fact that they never made a sequel to this movie.
That is interesting. Well,
for how well it did, especially.
Maybe I don't know. I guess you can make a sequel out of anything, I guess. I just was thinking, like, I don't even know where but I guess it'd just be another planetary threat or something. Who knows?
Yeah, you would come up with something else. New villain, all kinds of stuff. But especially also the fact that, like, I just feel even in, like, that Matrix kind of era, you think that, like, I could see, like, Fifth Element 2 coming out, like, give or take, like, 2002 or 3, somewhere in about that ballpark. But maybe also too, there is a weird thing that happens is that almost is like the biggest changing point in like cinema for especially a long time is 9/11. Once 9/11 happens, it literally movies because if you notice, all movies like in the 90s a lot of times have a very fun vibe to them. Like that's the way they are. I always say the quote that James Cameron says about like in True Lies. He goes like, "Well, after 9/11, terrorism wasn't fun anymore." And sometimes I like to stop and think about like that and go, James, when was terrorism ever fun? But like in a sense it makes kind of sense because you watch all these movies like in the 90s and it's like, I mean, like Con Air, Armageddon, everything about it always has a fun factor in it. Post 9/11, movies have that. They're always, even like that. The president can save the day, anything like that. And then movies all in like the 2000s era, they all have that ground in reality feel, whether they be a Jason Bourne movie, whether they be The Dark Knight, and even just a lot of the other things of that time period. Like, not saying there's not fun movies, but like it's changed. It really like changes the whole vibe of especially action movies and sci-fi movies. And so on, especially even like you mentioned I Am Legend and so on like that. That one kind of has a definite like post 9/11 vibe to that story. Yeah, it does. Yeah, no, it is interesting. It's interesting the way to think about the way that those action movies shifted like that, like you're saying. I mean, I guess it's not just action movies, but
Um, I don't know. I guess all the action movies I can think of that I've seen, we're still watching a lot that my wife's seen and I haven't, and I've seen but she hasn't. And they're all very similar with the quick one-liners, the way that, like you said, they make them fun. And yeah, I guess it's not really like that anymore. Very like. I was just thinking about Working Man, and the humor in that's very simple, something between kind of a half-hearted, like just action comedy joke, and something between that and a Marvel film or something. But it's not like it used to be. It really isn't.
Well, it's funny because that movie actually has kind of an all-star like lineup of creators, because it's Stallone's writing it and producing it. It's got David Ayer directing it, and then of course you got Jason Statham starring it. I thought there was somebody else in there too, but yeah, no, I do think things are kind of turning around, because there was like so many things. It's like the 007 movies. You think of the Daniel Craig era. Comparatively, compare that to just the Pierce Brosnan one. It's a big difference between those two.
100%. My wife doesn't like Daniel Craig as 007. I do, but
I still like him. But it sounds weird. I like Daniel Craig's movies a lot, but he's also my least favorite 007. If that makes sense. Yes,
that's what my wife says. So she says that a lot. She's like, oh, the movies are cool, but he's a terrible Bond. Like he's not a ladies' man. He's not charming. He's like just a straight killer. And I'm like, well, I don't know. I mean, that's just
that part. It sounds weird. That doesn't necessarily bother. It's Daniel Craig doesn't necessarily bother me. I feel like they just toned down his movies enough. I feel like they just needed just a little bit. Like the action's great. I mean, I'll say this: Casino Royale and Quantum of Solace and Skyfall. Those three are actually really darn good. They could just have a little bit more gadgets and a little bit more classic Bond-ness, and I would just make me a little bit happier. I know they're going for, in a sense, more Ian Fleming, where, things were a little bit more toned down because it was the 50s, but...
I kind of like them all, so...
Yeah, that's how I feel, too.
Some more than others.
Yeah. I mean, my favorite Bond is Roger Moore, so that kind of can tell you probably, like, the era that I like the most, but, you know... But yeah, that's the interesting thing there. But it is weird that with The Fifth Element, this was it was like a one and done thing. And, it's one of those ones you can't really do it anymore because, one, Bruce Willis isn't, around to act anymore. And, I mean, Milla Jovovich could probably do it. I mean, she's in all kinds of... Well, she probably can't do it.
Looks just like her.
She probably can't do it for the fact that it has to be a Paul W.S. Anderson movie. That seems about to be the only thing she stars in anymore. Because that's her husband.
Yeah, of course. I don't know. We probably won't get a sequel, but at the end of the day, at least we can still watch this one.
No, yeah. And this one still, I think it still always holds up. It's always fun. It's like the perfect length. It just runs smooth the whole way from beginning to end. And even though it's just got that straight to the point kind of like story, like it works in its favor because it allows you to take in this spectacle that you're going to see of just visual stuff, whether that be costumes and models and all the looks and special effects and so on. And just all this ridiculous things that you just normally will probably not see in another movie anytime soon. I'll say that for sure.
That's for sure. Sadly, but it's true.
Yeah. I do kind of think of even like one thing is like almost, I wonder if like The Matrix almost kind of like, because for how bright and vibrant this movie is, and The Matrix is like the exact opposite start in darkness. And
it's kind of like that Blade kind of.
Yeah. Blade's the one that kind of starts that. Blade starts it. Matrix kind of gets the credit, but that kind of thing. And it was funny. They all kind of go 97, 98, 99. They just kind of go from there. But yeah, go out of your way, check out The Fifth Element. It's a fantastic movie. It's one of those ones that I would say it's at least in like that top 20 of like sci-fi movies you need to see. Like,
absolutely top 20, top 10.
Yeah, I was almost even say top 10 for just most interesting, because there's even, maybe it might not be better than some other ones, but it's definitely way more interesting than some things you'll see. I can't, think of too many things that have this much uniqueness all jammed into one movie.
Just trying to think. You said it, man.
You try to think of what you would think is like your favorite sci-fi one, or most, the one that you would stands out like...
I think it's hard because the Fifth Element hits so many nails on the head. I was thinking about some horrors and space dramedies, but I don't know, this Heavy Metal.
Total Recall for me. That's
yeah, definitely. I really like, really different film, but I really like the oh my gosh, I really like film, but I can't remember the title. The with Lawrence Fishburne, it's a horror film. It's kind of like Dead Space, but a movie, and it came out way before. It's about the derelict spaceship, and they go.
This sounds familiar, but I feel like I'm drawing a blank on this too. Yeah, you're gonna have to look this mysterious one up real quick.
The Event Horizon.
Oh yeah, speaking of Paul Anderson, right there we go.
Yeah.
So speaking of that Milla Jovovich, but that'd be kind of a fun one. I haven't seen that in a long time. I think I only saw it on TV film. Back in the day, but
terrifying, but great film.
Yeah, so all that kind of stuff. But Fifth Element, really cool. Check it out. But till then, you can always check out all the other Old Man Orange podcasts on YouTube and Spotify. I'm Spencer Scott Holmes.
And also the Gary Oldman movies. Check those out because he's the greatest actor alive.
Yes, most
and I'm
definitely.
Dave Candito.
Until then, we'll see you next time.